Over the weekend, a clip started circulating of Donald Trump attending a coronavirus meeting at the White House. And a lot of people seem to point out the fact that Donald Trump looked like he was about to pass out during the meeting. Here's the video clip.
Free up more space in hospitals, including respirators. As Dr. Birx explained to me, that many people that require a respirator is because of a surgery gone wrong. And so this frees up more of our capacity across the board. I know it's not lost on any of the governors here, Mr. President, that by standing up FEMA, you now have essentially created a structure that every governor is very familiar with in dealing with disasters and emergencies.
You know, it's unclear from watching that if, the president was actually attempting to nod off a little bit, if he was struggling to stay awake. But one thing is very clear, he didn't care what anybody had to say during that meeting, right? The guy was just sitting there in his own little world, blinking, closing his eyes. Maybe he was, not falling asleep. Maybe he was trying to take it all in, but I don't think that's the case. I think this guy was just completely disinterested in anything that anyone had to tell him about the ongoing crisis that this country and world are currently facing. And that's really not what we want in this time of leadership, right? We need somebody who's going to go in there, understand things, relay them correctly to the American public. And unfortunately, folks, we don't have that in D.C. right now. We do not have anyone in that White House who appears to be either taking this seriously or who is able to communicate clearly with the American public. Literally the one thing we need, be honest with us and do everything you can, right? And we don't even have that sitting in the White House. We have this guy who calls Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, who can't even stay awake during a meeting about what's happening in this country. And then this morning, Donald Trump gets on Twitter, starts raving at the media, saying that all of their coverage of everything has just been to hate on Trump. Now, listen, when you start nodding off in the middle of a meeting, yeah, people are going to talk about that. When you refuse to be honest with us about what's actually happening in this country, people are going to talk about that. It's not because they hate you, it's because you're the president of the United States, and those kinds of things are newsworthy. Nobody's out there just talking about you only because they hate you. They're out there talking about you because you're continuously screwing things up, and you have since day one. This crisis was manageable, this crisis was foreseeable, and you, Donald Trump, have failed the American public. There is no other way to say that. You knew back in January, and here we are coming up on the end of March at this point. We have at least 5 different states in this country that have instituted some sort of lockdown for their citizens. Businesses are closing their doors left and right. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans are currently without a job, whereas just a couple weeks ago, everything was great. But it wasn't. But they thought it was because you couldn't get out there, you couldn't take this issue seriously, and you couldn't tell the public the truth. One of today's video sponsors is NordVPN, and right now NordVPN has an exclusive offer for Ring of Fire viewers. Go to nordvpn.com/ringofire and you can get 70% off a 3-year plan, making that 3-year plan just $3.49 per month. And if you enter code RINGOFFIRE at checkout, you can get an additional 1 month free. Again, nordvpn.com/ringofire, or if you'd prefer, just follow the link at the top of the video description below. NordVPN is offering you privacy, safety, and security, which is exactly what we need in today's online world. We know that websites love to collect our data, our IP, our location, whatever it is, because they can sell it for a huge profit. Furthermore, hackers can access this information, get into your system, find out anything they want to know, and NordVPN is one of the best possible ways to keep your personal data secure. They offer 24/7 support, whether through live chat or email, so if you have any kind of problem, NordVPN is there 24 hours a day to help you out. They have thousands of servers in more than 60 different countries, super fast connections, and they're compatible with almost every popular operating system: Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. And they also offer apps for both your Android and Apple devices. Again, for 70% off, go to nordvpn.com/ringofire, enter code ringofire at checkout for an additional 1 month free, or follow the link at the top of the video description below.